to Horses, Hope, and Hustle, the podcast where faith leads, grit drives, and the Western way of life runs deep. I'm your host, Crystal Show, wife, horsewoman, entrepreneur, and believer that God doesn't waste the hard stuff. Around here, we talk real stories, big dreams, and the kind of hustle that's rooted in hope. So pull your hat down, pour that coffee, and let's ride. Today, I'm joined by someone I have truly came to admire, Donna Saddoris, founder of CSI Saddle Pads. For 25 years, Donna has built more than just a saddle pad. She's built a reputation for quality, character, and consistency in the industry. We're talking about the hustle behind the brand, staying true to your values, and building something that truly stands the test of time. Let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back. Donna, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, everybody. Donna Saddoris, CSI Saddle Pads.
Awesome lady.
Sorry.
Donna Saddoris. I'm so glad that I ran into you down here. It's been great getting to know you. I appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast. And we also have a saddle fitting video that will be out probably before this episode comes out. Okay. So I really appreciate you taking the time and being here.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. And I appreciate you bringing your horses out. We had a great time doing all those saddle fits out here.
I couldn't believe how different my horses were. I mean, yeah, that was really interesting to just see how the pads, like, because we had 3 saddles, 5 horses, and we made all of them fit.
Yeah. That's the ability of the CSI pad that I'm most proud of, is the fact that we have become a solutions company, because currently we have 6 different liners that we can utilize to adjust for the type of top line your horse has. Horses are just like people. What I can wear is not what you can wear, and vice versa. So if I can accommodate that horse's top line to fit for the saddle that you're riding in. Now, obviously, too narrow of a saddle is too narrow of a saddle. We need them to fit. I can always fix a wide saddle, cannot always fix a narrow saddle. But the biggest thing I want people to take away from this podcast is less is usually more. Remember, the closer you sit to your horse's back, the more leverage the horse has in whatever job it's doing, especially if you're roping or doing anything competitive. It's safer for you to be closer to their back, and it's more efficient for them to have you closer to their back. So when you're far away, you have more opportunity for roll and motion, which is not healthy for the horse.
Yeah.
And not safe for you.
Yeah. And we showed that when you put a pad with the saddle that fit the horse, we didn't even have the cinch done up. You pulled on that stirrup and it didn't budge. And we showed a pad that was too big, too much, and that thing just rolled right off. The same crazy. Exact saddle that fit with the different pads. So yeah. So
it's kind of cool that we can do that. We've been very blessed in the ability to, over the years, our customers have helped us come up with that. This is just a little bit, it'd be great if it was, so we made it.
Yeah, I love that. I know with our stud horse, we had been struggling. Like, I showed him in the cow horse. My husband started healing on him, and he just kind of lost his stop. And it was so frustrating because I was like, I know this horse can stop. I was getting so frustrated. And overnight, we came and saw you at the last, I don't even remember what roping we were at Rancho. I was following Brian somewhere. And you fit Tonto to our saddle. And that next day, I will have to post those videos because it was insane. That's all we changed was the pad. And that guy was just parking it. And I was like,
thank you.
Yeah. I wish I would have known this 3 months ago. Right. But it was awesome, the difference that it made on him.
Yeah. Usually if the horse has developed a problem, check your equipment because something has changed. And there's a lot of great pads out there, but over time they wear, and you get to that point to where the life expectancy is gone. And you need to feel your pad where the horse feels it at the saddle tree. Out here at the edges, they always feel nice and thick and fluffy, but get in there where the horses feel it. And a lot of times those pads have gone from being like this to down like this. And now the saddle bar pressure is there and the horses are like, this isn't right. And one of the things you should really look for is when you get the dry spots or the lesser sweated spots with the wavy hairs, that's a sign of pressure, or a dirty pad. A dirty pad can make some of those things happen too. But most of the time, if you have the wavy hair and especially the swirly hair, like the little colicky, or not, It's not the right word.
No. Yeah.
And they get those little areas where it's, you'll
Yeah.
figure something out. I don't know what it is.
Well, insert later on. We'll probably think of
Yeah.
what it is, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's what it was."
That's what silly. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was I saw it on your Facebook or maybe we talked about it. I love that your company like understands that most of us can't go out and buy a special saddle for every single horse that we ride. I mean, we can't.
Right.
And so it's nice to be able to come to you and get pads that make the best of the saddle that we have in the situation that we have.
Thank you. We try really hard to accommodate that, because years ago when I started the company, I had a mare and I had one saddle. It fit me. It didn't fit her. And she was the inspiration behind the CSI Saddle Pad, because without her and her constant bucking, when she would get sore, it made me search for an alternative. And that's where the orthotic plate actually came from, was that ability to put something on her back that would distribute the bar pressure, the rider's weight, and that impact evenly across the big loin muscles. Because why have a pressure spot here and here in your horse from the saddle tree? We hope that the tree comes in contact all the way, but there's a lot of bridging that occurs. Or they've got too much rock and they're really sitting down on that loin muscle, which causes your horse to hollow out even more. But when I can take that pressure and spread it from here and here to like this all the way across, it just creates a better foundation to support the saddle tree.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so neat. On that note, let's talk about how and why you got CSI started. Let's talk about Miss Fancy.
Oh yeah, Miss Fancy was a beautiful blonde. She was the inspiration behind the company, as I've already said. She and I did a lot of competitive trail together. And in the process of doing that, we would ride a lot every day, 15 to 17 miles. And in Missouri, that's a lot of sweat.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of humidity. But we got her done, and she was a phenomenal horse and had a big heart, and she would do anything. But she was the type, she was a little bit prissy, and she was that type that if she wasn't happy, she would let you know. And she would usually suck it up for 2 or 3 days, and then on that third day, she was going to let you know. Yeah. And so we had a lot of arguments over the course of, until I figured out what the problem was. It wasn't just her and I PMSing together. There was actually a reason.
There's more to this.
Yeah. And so once I figured it out, and I started trying to build the saddle pad, because I bought every saddle pad on the market, and when you're riding that kind of mileage every day, as so many ranchers do out there and cowboys, they don't hold up. You're looking, 6 months, you're replacing a saddle pad or sooner, depending on the quality of the pad. And that gets expensive at a couple $100 a pop. So, let me back up. I was actually taking cutting horse lessons from a gentleman in Humansville, Missouri. His name was Jim Watson. He's since deceased. And he was all about foundation work. He built a lot of the interstate highways across the Midwest, and he was got to have something hard, something hard, something hard. And so we were, I was at his place, and we were testing. We took a bunch of his saddles. He had like 50 saddles that he'd won over the years, cowboying and rodeoing and stuff. And we set them in clay molds. And all of those saddle trees come up in the same basic area. You can have a 13-inch seat, you can have a 20-inch seat. It doesn't matter. Your saddle tree is basically going to be the same unless it's an Arab tree. So those trees are pretty much the same. And if you look at the outline of the flex plate, you can see where the contact point is. It's where it's built up into 3 layers. And what that does is it just takes that pressure from A to B to C. And each time it creates a bigger footprint. That bigger footprint spreads all that energy out to where the horse isn't just getting hit in one particular area. Your stud, when he went to stop, all that saddle tree pressure was radiating into his shoulders. And so his way of getting away from it was to walk through the stop. Yep. And he lost his hind end in that process.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. So much sense. So how long did it take you to come up with the design that you're like, this is it?
Probably about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
We did a lot of experimenting. I mean, I started doing that probably in 97. We actually became an LLC in 2001. So there was a lot of trial and error. And I never, ever had any intention of becoming a saddle pad manufacturer. I mean, I was a registered nurse. I worked in the ER. I loved my job. And, had a lot of rewards from doing what I did. And, but once I saw the difference it made for my horse, and then the friends that we would trail ride and stuff with, they would be like, what's different? Why isn't your horse bucking you off? Because
what the happened.
I was always traveling with a second backup horse because that third day I would just lay her off and I would ride another horse to where she could rest her top line and then we'd go back to work. So, they were always like, what's different about Donna and Fancy today? So that kind of inspired it because it's like, oh, maybe there is something to this, because I was just looking for a solution for myself. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, can you build us one of those pads? And so it just kind of trickled out like that. And then at some point, and I can't even remember, I believe it was Kerry Coon. I met him at a Purina event and he was like, this is the bomb. You need to do something with this. And that kind of was, how you get that tickle in your brain.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, maybe there's something more to this and maybe I can help humanity,
Yeah.
So it kind of went from there. And then in 2001 was when we got our LLC and I started doing some shows. And I can remember vividly because I am a very proud USA manufactured company. And I only use US materials and US hands. So, I mean, that's been from my roots. And I was at a horse expo. It was a buckskin expo. I think it was a world championship in Columbia, Missouri. And there was a gentleman from another company that came by and he goes, so what are you taking it to China? And I said, absolutely never. And he said, you won't survive 5 years if you don't. And I'm like, okay.
You're like 25 years later, dude.
and that's exactly how I felt, because I'm very proud of that fact that we've been able to survive because there is a huge difference between China quality, American quality, and then the price gap.
Yeah.
And I understand a lot of people can't afford our pads, but I will guarantee you they're going to last you. They're going to way outlast anything else you're going to put on your horse's back. But we have always been that proponent of, yes, we're going to get her done here. If we can't get it done here, then we're going to have to go backwards and find a different solution. And it's very hard, especially when we were coming up through that era, going into the Obama era, to where the EPA regulations really came down on things. And a lot of businesses were leaving the States anyway to go overseas because it was an encouragement at the time, take everything overseas. And I was like, no, we need jobs in America. Come back here, And there was a point probably about 2005 that I went full time with CSI because we were at that point to where something had to happen. You were either going to sink or fail. So I kind of threw all my chips in the basket and said, I'm going on the road. And boy, did I go on the road. I was doing a lot of shows, and I was somewhere and I was going coast to coast. We're out several pickup trucks. But that's how you had to get it out there because at that time, the internet wasn't what it is today. There was no social media and you had to put your face out there. You had to show the product and people still today, they want to touch and feel. We're still a tactile society and they want to come in and they want to understand that flex plate because so many of my competitors, they have a memory foam or a gel or something that feels really good. It's nice and squishy. And you think, oh yeah, Fluffy's going to love this. It's not effective. That's the problem. Anytime anything is so soft and comfortable, if you really push down into it, it's going to move away from the pressure. And then imagine what it's going to be like when you multiply your weight on top of that.
I did love coming to you and being able to get a better understanding, not just like going to a store and guessing which one was going to be the best option for us. So I really appreciated that.
Yep.
But on that note, though, for people watching and listening, you do also help people remotely.
Yes.
They can send you photos, which we talked about in our saddle fitting video, but very quickly go over what they can send you so that you can help them remotely too to get the correct pack. Because you also have the 30-day get it dirty. Is that what you call it?
Yeah. Ride it, get it dirty. Absolutely. And I want it dirty. Don't drag it behind your truck. Put it on your horse. Ride it. Because my job is to get you to throw a leg over the saddle pad. The horse is going to do the rest. The biggest job you have is to position it correctly. So I always want you to saddle to the back of the pad, stack the back of the saddle on the back of the pad just like that, because that anchors the contour in the front. Because we build a 2.5-inch contour into that to where it stays pulled up in the gullet. Then you have that nice dry stripe all the way down the spine. You know that. You've taken your horse. You've seen that when you unsaddle. And that allows for all that airflow. So breathability, relief, heat escape, all of those things for the horse. But back to your point.
Remote pictures.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. So the better the pictures are that I am given, the better job I can do for my customers. So I like to see the horse standing on a level surface, preferably concrete, weight on all 4 feet evenly, right and left profile, full body, because I can always zoom into their back. So when I get a shot real close to the back, I can't sometimes even tell what's front and what's back on them because it's so tight. So full profile. one shooting from the hip forward to the shoulders. That one's kind of tricky because you have to have a handler, somebody to hold that horse's head forward, because they'll always want to do this when you're behind them. Yeah. And that changes the conformation of the shoulders. So that one's kind of tricky. And get the mane out of the way. I've got to be able to see the shoulders, because there's a lot of horses out there where one shoulder's more forward or one shoulder's more big. That's great English. It's larger. Larger than the other. I see a lot of rope horses that are like this, they're kind of really big on the left and kind of flat on the right. Easy to fix. We can do it with the shim. But those are the photos I want to see, because then I can say, okay, yeah, I'm 2,000 miles away, but I can tell this is what you need. And with the 6 different liners, we can find something that's going to fit. And we're going to keep working with you. If we say, let's do a 1/2 inch liner because you've got a rounder backed horse, and you go, it just doesn't quite feel like it's enough. Great. Let's exchange out the liner. It doesn't mean the pad's not going to work for you. We've got some solutions we can go through to try to find the right combination for you.
Yeah. So
the pictures are very helpful, more so than videos. I mean, I love to see them traveling. There's nothing wrong with a good video, but usually they're so far out in the arena, that it's kind of hard to always see what exactly is going on.
Yeah. Let's talk about where you source your, not ingredients, your material. There we go.
My raw materials.
Yes.
So, Panhandle Leather is my leather supplier. They're out of Amarillo, Canyon, Texas now. They were in Amarillo for years. We get pallets of leather in at least once a month. And so we get the full hides, and then we die cut everything down to the appropriate sizes and shapes that we need. Then like the felt, wool and felt for me is kind of an interchangeable word. So you may hear me say it both ways, but the felt comes out of Rhode Island. And we actually had the privilege of going there and touring the facility that does that. And I was so fascinated, because there's lots of different felts out there, and there's F factors that apply to the density and how it's made and stuff like that. But this is a needle wool or needle felt. And what happens with it, with your press felts, so what happens is they put layers together, like 1/4 inch layers, and then they smash them all together really, really tight. And that becomes your pad at whatever thickness, 3/4, 1/2 inch, whatever the thickness is you want, that's what you get. With the needle felt, what they do, and it's so weird looking, because it looks like about thousands of cobwebs coming together at one time. So they have this loom that has like 7,600 needles in it. And they set the needles to the depth of whatever the depth is you want your material to be. So let's say it's a 3/4 inch, because that's very common. So the loom is set to the 3/4 inch depth. And then depending on how tightly packed is how long it stays in one place, the density of the material. So all these spider webs are coming in across this thing, and this loom is going from, I mean, it's kind of loud. And it's going back and forth, back and forth. And then when they get done, as this comes out the other end of the machinery, you have what we get as a finished product. So when we get it, it's 32 inches wide, and it's whatever depth we set it to be. And then we've been fortunate that the felt is good on both sides. There's not a good side and a bad side, which is why I make it reversible. And a lot of people that have bought from us over the years, it's reversible. Really? I didn't know that. And we try to tell everybody that, but that's a savings to you. If you clean that felt and then you flip it, it's a home run. You've got a brand new liner in there. And I bet I could make another 100,000 a year if I just wouldn't say, have you flipped it?
Yeah. Yeah.
People look at me like I'm crazy. I had people this week at Art of the Cowgirl that I probably had 5 customers that came in to buy liners, and I asked if they flipped it. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll go home. But I'd rather be that way, because that's one of the benefits of having that product.
What did it look like scaling? Like from when you started that LLC and you were starting, were you building the pads yourselves from the beginning? And then I know now you have people that work for you. And
so it started out, it was myself and my ex-husband, and we were doing it on the living room floor.
Oh my God.
And so lots of knee travel back and forth across the living room floor on top of these rolls of material to cut them and everything else. Had lots of blisters.
Oh yeah.
So that's why my hands are bad. Box knife, rip. But that's originally how we started. Then we rented a small facility, and we kind of built it from there. We started with, it was the 2 of us and then a seamster. And then, we were making 3 pads a day, and we're like, woohoo, this is awesome. we're putting it out there now. And then, we got better. We hired more seamstresses, because the sewing is the hardest part, in my opinion. It's the only part I don't do. I can do every other part of this project, but the sewing, not for me. But hats off to those girls, present, past, future seamstresses. They work hard. They truly do. And it's like chasing a cat's tail. Some of that, when they put that back strap on that thing, because not only are they going through the leather, but they're also going through the Velcro, the Velcro hook. So you've got 2 layers of stuff that you're putting together, and you've got to keep it straight, because if it gets cattywampus, it's not going to work efficiently for the customer. So they do an amazing job. The girls, they're phenomenal. But the labor and part of it, the plant, I have 10,000 square feet. And we've added on over the years, I think 4 or 5 times now. So as we've needed to grow and we could afford to grow, we did. Because I've really tried to, and I know in business, you're not supposed to pay as you go. You're supposed to borrow as you go. Kind of goes against my upbringing. So, you know, we've kind of kept it simple. But I call it the dirty part of the shop. It's a 40 by 60. And that's where all of the raw materials come into. So when we're die cutting, that's where all the heavy presses are. We've got a 100-ton press, and we've got several clickers and a couple of 50-ton presses. And so when we die cut the wool or the carpeting, the outer part of the pad is a marine grade automotive carpeting. When we die cut all that, when you cut it, all the little fuzzies come off. You know, so it's very flammable when you put all that stuff together. And we're really we're pretty persnickety about cleaning, because the last thing I want, I'm rural, I'm volunteer fire department. The last thing I want is a fire in my business. So we really clean. We clean every day, and then we once a week we deep clean everything. But you're amazed at how many fibers come off that stuff when you're working with it. Because at the end of the day, like when I'm cutting carpet, you go home and you just feel like, because it's all over you, you know, and it's just little fibers, and you don't really even see them, but you can certainly feel them. So we've got that part of the factory, and then it kind of goes into the clean side, or what I call the clean side, which is the sewing side of it. There's a glue room in between. When all the parts go through the glue room to marry everything together, because it has to be, we glue it temporarily so it can get sewn, because you have to put the parts together long enough to where the girls can sew them. Otherwise, everything's going to shift and move on you. And then when it goes into the sew room, they will take, and there's videos on my website that they can go watch, and they're on YouTube also, of the girls sewing. And it amazes me how fast they can go. I mean, they go, you know, and they're just pushing that stuff through there. And but they'll do a side, and then they'll stack their sides usually off, you know, on one side of the machinery, and then they'll come back like after lunch, and they'll hand base the 2 halves together, and then they go back and they put the back strap and the Velcro on. Wow. So it's a process. I mean, it does take some time. Honestly, if you took a pad without it being like an assembly line, which of course is how we work, it would probably take about 6 to 7 hours to make one pad. Wow. Which is pretty amazing, and they make it look so easy. You know. But it is a process. It truly is. So we try to have all of the materials cut, ready to go, you know, but that's kind of a constant thing. We get a semi-load of wool in every month. We get about every 6 weeks on the carpeting. We get that in. So when we get those raw materials in, we try to get them prepped to where the employees can just go grab what they need for that day when the orders come in. Say they need 3 browns and 5 black pads. They go in, they grab it, they build it, they take it to the seamstresses. The seamstresses work it into their schedule, and then it goes out to shipping. Now at every station, and this is something I'm very proud of all my employees for, we all self-control or self-monitor our quality control. So every employee is responsible for the work they have done. So when it goes from me as a laborer into the glue room, not only have I checked that, but then the next man in line checks it. And then, of course, when it gets to the seamstress, before she starts sewing, she looks to make sure everything's square. There's not no nicks or cuts where there shouldn't be. And then she goes to sew. Now, when she gets done, she assesses everything, makes sure the back strap's not twisted, nothing like that. And then she initials it. A lot of people ask what the initials are on the inside of the pad. That's going to be the lady or gentleman that sewed your pad. It's their initials. And then it goes out to the shipping area, and they will put it on the shelf from there, or it'll go into the order and ship out that day. So it's kind of, it seems like it can go through really fast, but there's a process to it, you know. And if there's a hiccup in the process, or we get behind on one of our raw materials, that'll shut us down. You know, say like the wool, sometimes in the wintertime, because of the weather on the East Coast, you know, we've had a couple times this winter where they were 3 weeks behind us. Well, when we don't have wool, what do we do? We have to make the top part of the pads. And then we get behind on our orders because we can't ship, because it's a 2-part system. And every one of our pads has some type of wool liner in it. So that's a process, and you're kind of stuck with Mother Nature there a little bit, but we've got great customers. They understand. You just have to communicate with them. What's going on.
back to when you got started, I love hearing how people that have been in business for like 20, 25 years, how they built, because like people my age or like me, for example, I didn't have the money. So I use social media.
Sure.
So I love hearing how other people went about and were like, hey, we hustled. We were traveling. We were putting in the miles. We were putting in the time. What was some of the hard parts of like, maybe like proving that this pad, like, hey, like there is a reason behind this?
So for the longest time, I mean, we've always shown the flex plate, you know, because I'm proud of what we've done. I'm not hiding anything from you. You can come to my plant, schedule an appointment, please. You know? But you can come and I'll give you a tour of the plant because it's pretty impressive. And I've never had anyone that's not been through the process that didn't go, oh, well, this is so simple. I can go home and do it. There's 32 steps to making this pad. You miss one step, you have a problem. And I'm going to tell a quick story about Coleman Proctor. He came probably 4 or 5 years ago, and Coleman's been with me for like 20 years now. And he sewed a pad, you know, because he was, you know, Coleman, he's a showman and love him to death. But he was in this, I mean, we take him through the whole plant process, and he was in the sew room. And Amy, she's a supervisor for the seamstresses. When we do special pads for Coleman, he's one of the only ones that we do a solid leather pad for because they are so hard to make. I mean, it takes like 3 people to hold all the parts together because it's a process, and we all cringe when we have to make one for him. But anyway, so Amy goes, Coleman, I think you should sit down and try to do this. So Coleman's like, okay, you know, he walks over, he sits down at the sewing machine, you know, and the long arm of our sewing machine is, I mean, it's like this big because you've got to be able to spin that pad underneath it, you know, and the pads are 32, 34 inches long. So he sits down and he's looking at all this, you know, and the needle is the size. I mean, it's a big needle, you know, if you break a needle when you're sewing, it sounds like a 22 going off in your hand because I mean, it's a big needle. And so he's sitting there and he's doing all this, you know, and he steps on the gas and it takes off, you know, and it kind of scared him a little bit. And Amy's trying to guide him, say, no, just let the machine, you know, you're just guiding it. Don't push, and so he gets done with it and he does like, I don't know, part of the side. And of course the leather, I mean, it's all over the place.
You're like, this is your pad to take off.
He did good. But he gets up and he goes, ladies, I think I'm going to stick the rope in. He goes, that is really hard to do. Yeah. So, but it's fun when those guys can come and see that. And then they're like, holy cow. Because it changes your whole perspective of, you know, when you get done looking at it and you're to $425 on the price of the pad and you see how much work goes into them, you're like, I'm not charging enough, not anywhere close enough. You know, but you have to stay competitive. And I'm not here to make a killing. I'm here to provide a good quality product. Because if I can make your horse more comfortable, it's safer for you, for your kids, for your husband, all of that. And that's what all of us just want to go out and have a good time. Even if we're competing, we're still doing it because we love our relationship with our horses and whatever activity is we've chosen to live our dreams off of.
Yeah, absolutely. And really in the grand scheme of it, like $425 or whatever the base price is on those, that's still nothing compared to going and buying a new saddle for every horse that you have. Yeah. I mean, since we've been down in Arizona, since it worked so well on my stud, we bought 2 the first day.
Yes, you did.
And then we got the other one from you. And Brian is like, we're probably going to get another one before she leaves. Like he made me sell all of our other pads. He's so funny. He's like, yeah, no, this is it. Because we've seen it. Like we've seen it in my stud. You know, all of our colts coming up. You fit the one when we spoke on that a bunch on. Like our 2-year-old, he's downhill right now. He's just going through that ugly duckling phase. Sure. Yep. And it made so much sense. You put the shims in so that saddle sit level. And even for those babies, if the first thing they know, like we talk about foundation is everything. If the first thing they know is pain or when they go to stop or do a certain maneuver is going to hurt, that's what they're going to do for the most of their life or the rest of their life. Yep. So really that investment of the pad, if you look at the big picture, it's
nominal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I always tell people the first pad's the hardest one to buy.
If you're enjoying this episode, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channels, follow us on socials, or share it with a friend. And if you get a chance, we highly recommend checking out some of our past episodes, including episode 24, From 2-Year-Olds to Rope Futurity Horses with CSI Elite team member David Sharp. Thanks for listening.
I always tell people the first pad's the hardest one to buy, because once you take it home, you ride it on your horses, you feel the difference in your horses. You're going to feel more secure in the saddle because you don't get the tippy rolly kind of feeling. Even from the mount, normally you feel that the saddle's not moving as much with you. So once you feel more secure and solid and closer to your horse, it's kind of a no-brainer. And then when your horse goes out like your stud did, and he develops his stop again, okay, I don't have to convince you that the pad doesn't stop. The horse did that for me. Yeah. And that's why I say my job is to get you to throw a leg over the saddle.
Yeah. So, I think you've done an awesome job, phenomenal job.
Thank you. You were asking about some of the things that we did, and I kind of got off subject with the Coleman story. So we would always show the parts. Okay. And I couldn't get people to understand the concept of from bigger to small, or from a smaller to a bigger footprint. So being from Missouri, I'm going to show you. Right. So we had a pressure tester. I call it the redneck pressure test made. And basically all it is, it's a scale base. And then there's a big contraption that goes around it. It's got a handle on it. So we can put different pads, cut up different pieces of pads to where they're like a 4x4 or 6x6. Put your hand in there, put whatever brand X pad is. You pull down on that handle, see how many pounds of pressure you can take on your hand. So you do that with several of our competitors, and then you do it with ours, with just the flex plate first. So you can feel it go from right here to right here. And then we do it with whatever bottom you would probably want, whether it's the fleece or the felt underneath it. And people are always amazed because they can usually take it to about 50 or 60 with most of my competitors. They get to mine and it's 300-400 pounds. Oh my God. And then you get all the boys, oh, well, I can go stronger than you, especially at the high school stuff. They just overwhelm me, and I'm like, guys, it's not a strong man.
That's enough.
Don't break my table here.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny, but that proves the point that plate actually does its job. It will distribute your weight. I don't care if you're 100 pounds or if you're 300 pounds. It's going to take that pressure and distribute it evenly across that horse's top line. Huge. Because once you...
So let's talk about the shoehorn.
So basically the flex plate, as we talked earlier, it's an orthotic for the horse's top line. It's designed to support the saddle tree, the rider's weight, and the impact, which occurs evenly. But the really cool part about it, if you think about your grandpa's, when they were putting on their really good shoes, they always had a shoehorn. And they would take that and they'd put it behind the heel to slide the back of the shoe on to where it didn't compress the back of it and ruin the shoe. So basically that's kind of what that flex plate is. So it's designed to sit between the horse's shoulder and the saddle tree. You have two hard surfaces, a bony structure and then a wooden structure from the saddle tree. So what that does is it allows the shoulder blade to glide forward and backwards, right and left, and it's supportive without being infringing.
Very cool. So, good info. Okay. Slap that in there. Good job.
Short enough. Your young horse that you're talking about that's downhill. So what happens if we don't fix that at an early age? What you said is 100% true. All they ever feel is pain. I have customers, I only ride them on my good horse. Why would you not ride them on your colts?
Yeah.
Get out of the pain cycle already. Because if they're focused on you, on your leg cues, etc., they're listening. If they're focused on their back hurting, they're not listening. It's going to extend your training period. I've got 2 horses in training right now. First thing I did was send them a CSI pad. I want my horses to be comfortable. I want them to listen. And it makes all the difference. The colt that's under saddle right now, he was coming along pretty good. But you know what? When we got rid of that back pain, made a huge difference for him. And now he's advancing way quicker. So why have to spend more money to get your horses in training, to get them where you want them to be when they come out, away from that professional? If we can shorten that even by 3 weeks, that's almost a month. Yeah. That's a lot of money. Yeah. That we're paying that trainer.
Yeah, that's a big chunk of your training bill right
Yes,
there.
it is.
And I love to, on the note of what we did for my 2-year-old, we get to use the same pad that we're using on my other colts that don't need it, but you make the shims that, let's talk about that, how it goes between the liner and your bottom base.
Yes. So everything's going to work off the flex plate. We have 3 different shims. We have the teardrop shims, which are for a downhill horse or an A-frame horse where they've really got a shark fin. And we need to build that up more because the saddle is way too wide and it's wanting to drive it down. So what we used on your guy was the teardrops, and you put them more forward and high, and they literally Velcro in between the top and the bottom layer. And the reason you can use that on other horses, and I think I told you this that day, take a Sharpie, mark where it needs to go on your 2-year-old. So when you pop that out of there, you put it over here in your tack room and you go ride that pad on a different horse. When you go back to that 2-year-old, wham, bam, you're done. It's easy peasy. You're not trying to reassess and fit everything.
Yeah.
As we talked about with the saddle fit, shim to me is a temporary solution, unless it's like somebody's had a broken wither, or it's just a massive conformational issue. Because if we can make the muscular structures do their job, that's what we ultimately want to do. And there's a lot of exercises on our website, belly lifts, butt tucks, so on and so forth, that you can learn to do. There's a lot of great books out there that you can take some of that and do it on your own. And we did that to your horses, and they were all very responsive. I think there was one that we had to kind of show them the way.
Yeah, one of the colts was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, but they picked it up after a couple of tries. They were, and all that does is lengthen and strengthen the top line. And where do we sit? On their top line.
Yeah.
So we take our weight plus our 50-pound rope and saddle. And, you know, one of the big things you've got to remember too, this is my nursing background talking now. When you put pressure over a muscle, it's a multiplier of 4. So if you weigh 200 pounds and you're directly on top of a muscle, that's more like 800 pounds of pressure. So we need to distribute that pressure, because that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot for anybody. That's crazy that those horses have to put up with that. And they do, because they're God's animal.
Yeah. Horses are just saints.
They are.
Just like, you're like, man, I think I had joked about that once when my stud was younger. I'm like, he had so many opportunities to just
kill you.
Yep. And he never did.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. They take good care of us.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. What did CSI stand for?
Cowgirl Saddle Pad Industry.
Cowgirl Saddle Pad Industry.
Yep. So that's what the original name was, but you know, I didn't want to offend any of the cowboys out there. But
made for cowboys also.
Yes, made for cowboys also, not exclusive. But it was, for the longest time after my divorce, it was just me and a couple girls doing it, and we rode, you know, and so why not?
Yeah. I love it. I love seeing women in business, like coming out of, I was in a very similar situation. You know, I was right out of a divorce, started literally, it was during COVID. It was like, just take everything and I just want to leave. So at 26, like I started with nothing. So over. And I love hearing women that then go out and just do something positive with it and go, that's awesome. I love it.
You have to have a lot of sacrifices.
A lot.
It's worse than having a baby because it doesn't stop. No matter how tired you are, you still have to be there for your customers, because they don't care if you've had a bad day. They have an issue. They want to take care of their horse, and they've come to you for an answer. So you have to be there for them. And unfortunately, sometimes with social media and email and all that stuff, some of that personalization gets lost. You know, you still do your best, but yeah, you've got to have that human touch.
Yeah.
And when you call us, you may get a recording if we're on the phone, but you're going to get a call back.
Yeah.
And it's going to be somebody you can talk to and understand.
Again, I love that about your guys' company. And I love that you've taken the time. You know, I even watched you in your trailer when I stopped by to say hi. You know, I love that you're explaining this and you put so much into it, and it shows like how much you're willing to educate and help people understand it to get their best.
You know, I had a gentleman yesterday, an older gentleman, and he came in and he you could tell he was on the muscle a little bit, and he was kind of bowed up, and he was ready to argue with you about it. And he goes, "Can I ask you some questions?" Sure. So what makes your pad better than blah, blah, blah? Tell him the whole story. We talk a little bit about saddle fit, and then he the whole attitude changes. He's very willing to listen. And he comes back about 20 minutes later and he goes, "I just want to thank you, because you actually answered my questions. No other saddle maker had, no other saddle pad company had. You actually answered the questions that I had today."
Wow.
So that's what we're here for.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. It doesn't feel like a sales pitch.
I don't want it to be ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I admire that a lot. So you're still on the road. We're in Arizona right now. Your shop is in Missouri.
Correct.
And you're still just
running and gunning.
Going.
Running and gunning. Yep. I leave here Wednesday to go to the timed event in Guthrie. And we've got a lot of great athletes that are on the pro team that are going to be competing down there. We lost a couple of them early on to injuries. Tyler Wade got knocked out, and so did John Dausch. And, you know, I hated to miss them guys because, gosh, they're so much fun to watch. That's my favorite event of the whole year is the timed event. But I'm excited for Coleman to be there. This is his first year. And so we'll see how he does.
Very
So
cool.
obviously we're rooting him on. And a good friend of mine has got, he'll have a yellow horse there that I believe he's calf rope 9. And that was her horse. And she put a lot of time on him. And I used him in a clinic one time. And he's a phenomenal horse. So it'll be fun to see those horses compete too.
Very cool.
So then I come back to Arizona for the NTR finals. And then I go to the BFI. And then it starts my East Coast tour. So in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And it just kind of goes crazy.
Yeah.
The rest of the year.
Yeah. And 25 years in business, just celebrated the 25th.
Just the 25th. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just
the 25th.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long. But when I look at videos and stuff, I used to have brown hair. Now it's just kind of lovely gray.
What do they call it? Like silver fox?
Yeah, there you go. I've earned every one of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But while I'm here, can I give a shout out?
Absolutely.
Okay. The pros, the trainers, all of those people, the trail riders over the years that have given me feedback, that were willing to say, I have a problem. How can you fix it? Because without their input, telling me that 3/4 inch liner doesn't work for me, you know, and one of the things, remember the plate is 1/4 inch thick. So 3/4 here and 1/4 is an inch overall, because people sometimes get lost in that part. But if they hadn't have been willing to sit down with me and say, you know, I really need this. And even like the fleece liner, that was developed because the felts get wet, dry hard. And then like in the fall, just the friction of the motion of the horse's hip will rub the hair off the hip. That's what inspired the fleece liner. You know, I mean, it was a great idea. One of the pros suggested it because he's like, I don't want to go to the NFR with my horses, you know, rubbed there. And I'm like, I get it. I'm on it, you know, but that's what inspired that. So your feedback to me is just as important as my feedback is to you. So we appreciate that. And we thank all of you guys that have done that over the years for us.
Yeah. That is huge.
Yeah.
Just working together as a team so everybody can benefit.
Exactly.
Love it.
Comfortable horse, safer ride.
Yes. So what would you say has been kind of your biggest struggle in staying in business, building the business?
Well, you got to pay your taxes. No. Yeah, they're always looking. No, you know, you have to find what it is that motivates you and find that passion. And you have to you want to surround yourself with people that can help inspire that passion to keep you going, because the day-to-day grind is exhausting. As you know, it's very hard for you to sit down and edit hours of video sometimes, I'm sure, when you're tired and all you want to do is go ride your horse. And I completely understand that. But you have to dig deep in yourself to find what it is that motivates you. And when you get that little bright spot, you just kind of got to go with it from that point forward, and just keep working after it. And it's not going to be easy. Anything worth having is not easy.
Yeah.
And my stepdad, when I started CSI, he was like, 1 year you make it, you've done something. 2 years, you're really good. You make it more than 5 years, you're good. You're going to be okay. And I never will forget him saying that. And it scared me. You know, I was like, well, like 5 years. I can't do 5 years, you know, but he was right. It was truthful. By the time we hit our 5th year, we had a little bit of a reputation. I didn't have the funding. You know, there was one of my competitors that started the same time I did, and they got like a $7 million grant from the government. Well, I guess I'm too dumb to get that because I didn't know how to do that. And you know, they blew it up with advertising in all the magazines and everything that was going around it, you know, in 2001. Because I mean, we started at the exact same year, and they blew it up, and they were like way ahead of us. But the problem was they couldn't stay ahead of us because the quality wasn't there. We can go to Rancho this week, and I can show you pads out there that are 23, 24, 25 years old. At the top, not the whole pad, the top part of the pad, because it's a 2-part system. They're still riding them. Now they look rough, but they've also been ridden for 25 years. Yeah. But it does my heart good when I see that. When I see that, because it's a proven quality product. So is the product expensive? Yes. Let's say it's $500, but over 20 years, that's $25 a year. That's pretty cheap. Yeah. Overall.
Cheaper than going and buying a brand new, I mean, geez, anymore, 3,000 is the cheap brand new saddle.
Yes.
But
well, and a saddle pad, most of your saddle pads are going to be $350, $400. And, you know, and then a lot of people are into maintenance, which is great. But if I can help cut down your chiropractor visits, that's a huge savings too. And you may still need your chiropractor for the hip or the pole, but I'm going to guarantee you the ribs are going to be in place, you know, and the withers shouldn't be sore.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about for me.
Mhm.
And I know when we did the video, we talked a lot about the muscle spasms that horses have and the density of the eggs and stuff. And the density, it feels like boiled egg.
Yes,
on your
yes,
skin,
yes.
sorry. But feel your horses. I mean, get used to your horse's top line and feel their body. If you have those problems, there's professional people out there that can help you with that, and reach out to it, because if you feel something abnormal on that horse, that could be developing into a different problem for you. And we don't want you to get hurt or bucked off. And wherever it's at, just pay attention and be aware, because your horse isn't, well, most of them are outlaws.
Yeah.
You know, they don't ever wake up with the intent to hurt you today.
Yeah.
Usually when they act out, it's because something is wrong and they've had enough. They can't take it anymore. So they say, okay, my fancy, she'd buck. That was her giveaway. You're out of here.
Yeah. Just like, hey, I ain't hurt.
I've had enough. Get off me.
Yeah. Oh, on that note, what have been some of your biggest rewards? You kind of touched base on helping people.
That's probably the biggest one. That goes back to the nursing side of things.
Yeah. Yeah. How long were you a nurse before you jumped into
my
CSI?
Goodness. I became a paramedic when I was 19. Worked for Kansas City Ambulance Services, and then I got on at Granby Fire Department as a paramedic firefighter, and started college getting my prereqs for nursing while I was a firefighter. And then I went, oh my gosh, it's been a long time ago. It was in the 80s. I think it was like 83, 84, somewhere in there. I got my RN. And then up until 05, now I'm retired.
Retired and making all these plans of following the trailer.
Not retired from life, just retired from nursing. But no, it was a good career. I don't regret it. And you know, the funny thing is if you look at the anatomy of a horse and a human, we're identical. Yeah. We truly are. Muscular structure, everything. Horse's shoulder blade is free floating. Ours is not. And they have that locking mechanism to where they can sleep standing up. Yeah. It'd be nice if we had that. But, yeah. But it's pretty impressive that the AMP is the same in both.
That was neat. What is your best advice to a woman or a man, anyone? We're not cowboys or cowgirls here. What's your best advice to someone that, same as you, like has this idea, wants to take off? What's your best advice for them?
Hold your cards close, especially if it's something that's patentable, because there are a lot of people out there that will try to take your work and profit from it. And sometimes it's the people closest to you that you got to be the most careful of. So just be aware of that. Keep some things to yourself. And you got to you've got to put forth the effort. You got to give God the glory.
I love that.
And work hard.
Give me goosebumps there. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh.
We've been blessed, needless to say.
Yeah. I love it. Blessed, but definitely tons of time. Tons of hustle.
Work, tons of work. You know, and the people that have worked for me over the years, oh my goodness, you know, and I've still got a great team. You know, my granddaughter, she's coming up. She's wanting to take over the company as I retire. And that's kind of the plan. She's really worried about grandma's legacy, you know, so I appreciate that. Yeah. But when she was a little kid, she was tying crosses for me, because we always give away leather crosses to every one of our customers. And of course to churches if they want them or whatever. I mean, we give away a lot of crosses throughout the year, but I can remember she was like 7, 8 years old, sitting there tying a cross, penny cross. Oh, penny, I love that. So awesome. You know, and now she's got a little 2-year-old, and he comes to work with her. Both his parents work for me, so they all come to work together as a family. And Theo's got his little janitorial cart that he pushes around and sweeps. Of course, he doesn't help much, but he's going through the motions of it. Awesome. He'll be really good one day. Yeah,
just getting those reps in now.
But he does. You know, all the Theo, will you pick that up for me? And he goes and puts it in the trash. So you know, it does save some backs.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cute. Yeah. It's been a joy to have him there. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, gosh, is there anything else that you want to add?
I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share our story.
Yes.
And I wish you nothing but the best of luck. If there's anything I can do, let me know.
I really appreciate it.
We will be glad to share anything you do.
Thank you.
There. Social media is the bomb. You know that.
I have to tell you, so that I did an interview with David Sharp, which was so funny because he just like randomly texted me in an evening. He's like, I stumbled across your podcast. We loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, crazy. Like, because this podcast is just a passion project of mine. It's in the works of, I'm actually selling my company and jumping straight into the podcast. Yay, and so anyway, that day that we met in the trailer and we came and you fit Tonto, and I got to talking to you, it like lit up. I don't know. I was like a little kid when we left, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, yes, I've heard of you. Like, I've been wanting to reach out to you. And you told me, I told you like joking. I was like, yeah, I just want to sell out and just do the podcast. And you like looked me in the eye and you're like, do it. I almost started crying in your trailer because I was like, oh my God. But then we left and I was like, Brian, did you hear that? She heard my podcast. And I was like a little kid. Like,
you do a very good job.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of podcasts out there, but you apply it to our industry, which is hard to do. You know, there's a lot of great podcasters that bring the cowboys on and they talk about all the thrills and spills and all that kind of stuff and techniques. You go to the heart, and that's what I appreciate.
Well, thank you. I just know what it was like when I was coming up. I mean, I'm a first generation on, like, my family had horses, but I was always told, like, you can't make money in the industry just because they didn't understand or didn't know how. Right. And it wasn't easy. It has been very hard, but it's still possible. And that's just what I want people to understand is you're so relatable in your hard days. Like, you're seen, you're not alone in them.
No,
it's not all butterflies and rainbows every day.
No, it's a lot of.
But there, like you said, when you can find that glimmer of hope, it's incredible how just this little light in what you're doing is enough to keep you going.
And your people, the people, and we have the best customers. We really do, because they all care about their horses.
Yep. That's what's always cool to me. I know my business obviously is different, even in the horse sales and the podcast. But when you get somebody to come to you and like is like, oh my gosh, I'm really enjoying, or thank you so much, this helped this horse, or it's very rewarding and just fulfilling. You're like, man, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Yep. If we can avoid some of those horse wrecks, I can remember as a medic hiking back in like 2 miles, some lady that got bucked off her horse. And broke her pelvis. And then, you know, so you carry all your equipment and you have to carry all her plus the equipment back out. And she's in so much pain. And I'm sorry, there's not much you can do. It's there's no easy terrain to transfer. So, you know, you don't want to see those kind of things. And if we can help to avoid some of those wrecks, that's what it's all about. And we'll never know if we did or didn't, but we're going to and assume we did.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Love it. So obviously, if people want to shop and find all your contact info, CSI.com, right?
CSIpads.com.
CSIpads.com.
Absolutely.
And then, like we said, if they can't get to somewhere where you're at with your trailer, they can send in pictures. You'll help them fit a pad to their horse.
Absolutely.
Send in the right pictures.
Yes. Send us good pictures. That's always helpful. Yes. Send us good pictures. I'm at a lot of horse expos. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram. We have way more Instagram followers than we do Facebook followers. I don't know why that is, but people like Instagram better. And shout out to Bailey Bowers. She does our social media and she does a phenomenal job.
Your social media is great.
Yeah, she's organically grown that to over 110,000 now. And hats off to her, because other companies that before, you know, they pay for clicks and she's never done that. And I have a lot of respect for the fact that she grinds it out. And she does all our ads, you know, as well as the social media. So, you know, it's nice to have good people.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. I love too, on that note, shout out Bailey. I love how she's always capitalizing. You guys are always capitalizing on your pro teams and the people, your community.
Yes.
I love that. I think that's really neat.
I do too. I love the fact that we have those athletes. I mean, because they're the cherry on top of the ice cream bowl, you know, they're the best of the best. But I don't want to take away from the trail riders either. And we love photos of our pads in use, because I can't be wherever everybody else is. But, you know, some of the backgrounds that we see of the mountains and different things, we love that. And it's nice to share that with our customers. So if you're not following us, please follow us.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, we try to give good content out there. And I should probably do more little snippets, but it's hard. It really is hard.
It's very time consuming.
It's time consuming. And I'm such a in the moment kind of person. It's hard for me to premeditate some of that stuff, but usually I'll do it if the opportunity presents itself like with you.
Yep. I thought our saddle fitting was so good. We didn't come in with a plan at all, but I think it was very just raw and real and
It's organic.
Yep.
Yep. Very much so.
Yep. I love
And
that.
you have some nice horses.
Thank you.
You got a couple that are really going to grow into something.
Thank you.
I still think about that
Excited.
thoroughbred, and you were like, she's a little goofy. You gotta be careful.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like, he was fine.
Yeah, I know.
fine.
He was like, cool. I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah. We brought home our broodmares last night. My other broodmare made me the biggest liar too, because usually like she's a lot. She's spicy.
Yeah.
And now that she's a broodmare, not messed with much,
Worse.
she's just got an attitude. Like you have to have an acquired taste for Allie, but usually sometimes when you undo her halter, she will just snort and and we just know it. And she's old, like she's just, you're not gonna fix it,
Right.
you know. And the gal that owns the boarding place, whatever, she went to take her halter off. I was like, I'll do it. I
Yeah.
don't want you to get
Yeah.
her. That mare didn't do anything.
Just dropped her head.
She like took the halter off and she just sat there. I was like, Allie, I think you're making me a liar.
They will always, yeah,
Yeah,
they're unpredictable.
they are,
Yeah.
but we love them.
We do.
anyways.
We love them a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, going back to one of your questions earlier, the equine industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, as you know, but it's a very small, very, very small.
So small.
Always put your best foot forward.
Mhm.
Don't lie. Don't
Mhm.
cheat.
Mhm.
Sometimes it costs you a lot of money, and there's easier ways to do it. But stick to your guns, stick to your morals, stick to what God wants you to do, and you'll be fine.
Mhm. Love that. So true too.
Yeah.
So true. Well, gosh, I think that's a pretty good ending. No, I'm like, oh man, I don't have anything else now.
that a
That
wrap?
was a good, yeah. Good job. Thanks for riding along with me on Horses, Hope, and Hustle. If you found even a little bit of inspiration or grit here today, share it with a friend, leave a review, or tag us on socials, and keep showing up for what truly matters. Until next time, stay true, stay tough, and keep hustling.